This is Renata Nicole of If It's Magic, where if it's magic, we want to write and talk about if it's magic. So go ahead and light your candles, light your incense, sip on your special herbal tea blend. And if you feel so inclined, go ahead and set a spell while we get right about it. Hi, as stated by the intro, this is Renata Nicole of If It's Magic, and I am so happy that you've joined me where in this discourse, I will be focusing on the turkey and its symbolism. Well, let's see how I arrived here. What happened is a few months ago, I was riding through the backwoods of Georgia, and as we were going down the road, I looked over to the right and I saw 3 wild turkeys, standing right there at the edge of the road. And I looked at them and I smiled and I thought about their energy and their symbolism and what they represent. And then just fast forward to now. Right now, at the time of this recording, it is the month of November. And in the United States, turkey symbolism is abounding. So at least for me, I can't help but think about some of the associations of this magnificent bird. Now, let's go ahead and dive into this animal. Wild turkeys, they do fly. Now, I recognize that some people are more familiar with the domesticated turkey, where it's bred to have larger breasts. So because the domesticated turkey has a larger breast and, are bigger in size than the wild turkey, the domesticated turkey does not fly. In this discourse, what I'll be doing is I'm going to be focusing in on the wild turkey. And I'm bringing that in because I'm going to be talking about some things. And I want to be able to, give clarity that I'm speaking about, the wild turkey that is seen throughout North America. While there's different varieties, but these characteristics are similar. So here's the thing. I'm also going to throw in this fun fact while I'm at it. Even though I said I'm going to talk about wild turkeys, let me wrap up a little bit about domesticated turkey. It's believed that the first turkeys that were domesticated were done so by the Aztecs about 2,000 years ago. And I mention that because in the history of, human life, 2,000 years is not that long. It might seem like a long time ago because we don't live that long. But when you think about in terms of just the history of life and things like that, it's a relatively short period of time. And so with that, I want to focus in on the attributes of a wild turkey. Now, while I said that the domesticated turkey is large, the wild turkey, right? Let's get into the wild turkey. They have massive weight compared to other birds as well. They're not that thin on themselves. So these are birds, like with a male getting up to like 3 feet high. So these are not small birds if you've never seen one in person. They got some height on them and some weight. And so because of this, they spend a lot of time staying close to the ground. Now, like I said, they do fly and you'll see them. They tend to roost in trees. And those of you who are not familiar with the term roost, that means sleep. So they tend to sleep in trees. And the female, which is known as a hen, they lay their eggs directly on the ground. They don't have to use a nest or anything like that. Sometimes you'll see other birds and they gather, leaves or branches or straw or something to grass to make a nest. They don't have to do that. They could just directly lay their egg to the ground. Now, when you recognize how much time they spend on the ground, it helps you to understand why this bird is associated with the ground. Now, it gives us a reminder that we should give thanks for the blessings that the spirit of the earth provides. Because, the earth is the ground, right? Earth, ground. And with that, the acknowledgement that it's the earth from which farmers reap their harvest. It is through the nourishment that one receives from the harvest that we're blessed with abundance, opportunity, fertility, and success. Now, the earth energy is a feminine energy. And I don't mean to tell anybody anything that they already know, but I recognize that one of the things that we try to do here at If Is Magic is speak to people who are new to learning things, dealing with esoteric knowledge or magic and things like that. And so with that said, the four basic elements, earth, air, water, and fire. Those are the four basic ones. And fire and air are considered masculine because they penetrate. So things that are penetrating are masculine, and water and earth are considered feminine because they are receptive. If you put something, like you can put food coloring into water and the water will absorb that color. And you can pour water into the earth and it will absorb the water. So they're receptive. So anytime we have something that is receptive, it's considered a feminine energy. So the turkey is associated with a feminine energy. And I'm going to tell you something else that the turkey does. Turkeys are animals that live in communities. So you're not going to see them as a lone wolf off by themselves. I shouldn't say you never see them that way. But what I'm really saying is the way that they are designed is to be in a community. So within that community, they're attentive to the needs of the other turkeys around them. They try to make sure that everybody is okay. So they care for one another. And the neat thing about them is that while they do care for others, they are highly receptive to allowing themselves to accept attention, love, and care from others. As a matter of fact, they bask in the care of others. They love attention. So, but you got to be cautious, because if they don't know you, they're not familiar with you, they feel like their space is being trampled upon, they will attack. And I'm going to get more into that. But what I want to go back to is just talking about how, they have no problem with receiving attention and they like to give attention. And, wild turkeys, these communal creatures, spend a lot of time communicating with one another. The male is called the Tom, and that is the animal of that species that says, the gobble sound, gobble, gobble, gobble. That only the male turkey says that. And then you have the hen, and then we have jakes, the younger turkeys are called jakes, but they have different vibrations, or I don't really know how you would describe the sound of a turkey, the correct term, but they have different vocalization that they use, and it's specific as they're trying to communicate different things to one another. And so what this reminds me of at this time is that as many Americans who, for those, because everyone doesn't, but for those who celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday, what happens is they tend to have conversations around the table. I know this year some people are going to be doing it virtually. They're not going to be having them in person, but whether they're going to be doing Zoom or FaceTime, people are having conversations with one another. And when you get to know your family, you know what tone you can take with your family. You know what you can say to Aunt Sally. You know what you can't say to Aunt Susie. You know what can and cannot be said. You know that Uncle John ain't going to go for this. And you know that Uncle Henry ain't going to go for that. You know how to have those conversations. You know that your grandmother is going to want things set up this way, and you're attentive, or we should be practicing being attentive to them, and in a community, they would be trying to be attentive to us, right? And so that's something that we strive for and we achieve within our families. And so that's something that the turkey energy shows us, that they know how to function as a community. Now, here's the thing. Turkeys are also animals who exercise balance. Now, I know that they're associated with abundance, so that can kind of seem like I'm, saying something off. But I want you to recognize that in addition to receive and give to others, go back to what I was saying, they have no problem with showing courage and fighting predators when they feel like they are threatened. So they balance that out. They're not going to be a doormat and just let somebody roll up on them and bring harm to them. They're going to stand up for themselves when needed. They want their love. They want to give to you, but don't, they have a don't tread on me kind of attitude. Now, while wild turkeys do have feathers that change colors when the light hits them, allowing them to be slightly deceptive, there's something that I want to talk to you about. It's that they're not that deceptive of a bird. It's like you can know how a turkey is feeling. And I don't know if you're familiar with the top parts of a turkey, but they have flaps of skin around their beak. The top part is called a snood. The bottom is the wattle. And when a turkey is fearful, their skin, it can start to turn blue. You could just look at it and know this turkey is afraid. And when the turkey's not feeling well, it turns pink, like a light shade of pink instead of the vibrant red that we're used to seeing. Now, what I think they're trying to teach us is that there's a season to be vulnerable when it comes to our feelings. I think that's what the color change can teach. We can learn from that. There's a time when it's okay to let those around us know, I'm not okay. Something is going on. And yet, what I learned from the feathers being deceptive when no one looks at it is that I need to make sure I'm not telling you everything about me. I have to make sure that I'm not showing all of my cards to everyone. And so they balance that out, right? Now, there's so much more that we can learn from this animal totem. But I want to leave you with the fact that turkeys have excellent eyesight. Their daytime vision is said to be amongst the most sophisticated of the vertebrates, which is 3 times better than humans. This means that turkeys are showing us how to look at everything around us, from the big picture to the minute detail. Now, this is just a sample of what the energy of the turkey has to offer. But I would like to suggest that at the sound of this tape, or I should say recording, do we say tape anymore? I don't think we say tape anymore. At the sound of this recording, many of us at this time are surrounded by the symbolism of the turkey. And I have a strong urge to suggest that we tap into learning more about the energy of the turkey as we are in this season. And that concludes this discourse. And in the meantime, just know you've listened to Renata Nicole of If It's Magic. And if you want to know more information about If It's Magic, feel free to go to ifitsmagic.com, view our website where we post articles. Additionally, you can find us on Instagram at If It's Magic, Facebook at If It's Magic, and, definitely like and subscribe to this channel. I hope you have an amazing day. And guess what? I'm out.